Good evening, everyone. I wish you a very happy and prosperous New Year 2022. I'm Kamala Gunawardana, highway consultant and a fellow representative of the IESL for this session. Today, this presentation is organized by the Library and Publication Committee in collaboration with Civil Engineering Sectional Committee. Under the member development program of both committees, several activities are planned to arrange and in non-technical presentations also. That is one part of it. This is the second presentation under member development concept, and of course the first presentation for this year. We are happy about it. Appreciate the arrangements of these activities by subcommittee chairman, Engineer Manjula Samrasinghe, with the guidance of Engineer Professor Ranjit Disanayake, Chairman of Library and Publication Committee, and Professor MTR Jayasinghe of Chairman Civil Engineering Sectional Committee. We are planning to organize presentations covering within this session 2022, like administrative skills, public sector processes and basic knowledge, law, finance knowledge, communication skills, leadership skills, interpersonal skills, presentation skills, enthusiasm, innovation and creativity, resilience. First presentation was this caliber on last Wednesday by our engineer, Dr. Laksil Pradeep. So let me come to today's event. The title today is Magic of Thinking Big, a appropriate topic that you will entertain right now. Let me introduce this key character who is presenting in a different rhythm today. He is well-known personality, not only among our members, and especially among many professionals. He is Dr. Ranil Sugatadasa, Senior Lecturer of Faculty of Engineering, University of Singapore. He is not simply a chartered engineer with a doctorate. He has multidisciplinary experiences in engineering, construction, marketing, product and business developments, strategic planning, health and safety, and so on, actually a lot. And most importantly, he acts as and he's sometimes an advisor and coach to the CEOs and corporate boards, mindset mastery and motivational expert, management and leadership trainer, transformational coach. These are very important. I got it from his abstract. Actually, this is very important for you all to know. So you can participate whatever his presentations in future as well. With these remarks and without further ado, I invite today's presenter, Engineer Dr. Ranil Sugatadasa, to take over this Zoom platform now. Over to you, Dr. Ranil Sugatadasa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Very good evening, everyone, and very, very happy New Year, my dear engineers from Sri Lanka, as well as a couple of engineers from outside as well. Thank you very much for joining this session. And in fact, I'm so grateful to Professor Ranjit Disanayake, Professor Tishan Jayasinghe, and Engineer Manjula Samarakoon for inviting me for this session. And the topic is Magic of Thinking Big. Magic of Thinking Big. And let's do a bit of a very interactive session as much as possible. And I'm going to share some of my experience, my failures, and my little bit of successes here and there to explain you this topic, my dear engineers, right? So what is thinking big? Many people misunderstand it as greediness for physical things, material things, greediness for positions, and doing big things. It is not. Thinking big is not greediness, not going after material things, not building huge things, unwanted things, right? That is not thinking big. That is thinking small. When you think small, you will attract lots of unhappiness, frustrations. You may not be able to manage your team, and you will feel frustrated with your career and your profession. You will feel frustrated with your marriage life, feeling frustrated with everything around you. When you think small, you will attract bad things such as unhappiness, frustrations, negative feelings, jealousy, a feeling of too small, competition, and you will attract unnecessary amount of conflicts and many other things. So if you really want happiness, purpose for your life, if you really want to enjoy your profession, if you really want to enjoy engineering, if you really want to enjoy your marriage life, you have to think very big, my dear friends. With examples, I'm going to share this with you all, right? And let me start with some of the story. I studied at Morato University, and all the lectures were very good, and they were motivating us. And there was a special lecturer, that is senior lecturer, engineer Professor Tishan Jayasinha, who really motivated us with a different perspective. And he was talking about various big things that we can do as engineers, and as such we all pass out. And what happened is, I just applied for an Indian company, and apparently few of my batchmates also applied there, and I just went for the interview, and then I faced it very well, and they asked me the salary that is wanted by me. That is in 2001. I said, I'm expecting rupees 35,000. Those days, the average salary of a just pass out civil engineer was around 12,000, and I was asking 35,000. Then the Indian director got mad with me, and he just got up from his seat and said, all the other colleague engineers of you asked 12,000, 13,000. They were having first classes. And you, Rani, you're only having second lower. You are asking 35,000. What is this? Are you mad? I said, no, I believe I can add value of rupees 35,000 into 10 or 100 to this company. And that's why I thought to ask 35,000. And then he started scolding me and blasting me. And then I requested my CV from him. And within 2 days, my batchmates, I think, got to know about it. And the message came to Morato University saying that Ranil Sukadasa has disturbed the industry, right? And I was very upset to hear it. And everybody were looking at me differently. And ultimately, I didn't have any other choice. I went to Professor Tishan Jayasinha. I told him, sir, I did this. And he was very happy, asking such a huge salary. And he said, that should be the way that you should, ask. You should value your profession. And then he offered me, actually, for me to do a MSc with ADB scholarship, which gives me 12,000. And then he offered me some engineering kind of consultancy, which he paid me 10,000. And he offered me a couple of lectures in architecture faculty, where I can again earn around 10,000, so that it was altogether 30,000. Why I said this story is because my teacher of basically thinking big is none other than engineer Professor Tishan Jayasinha. I truly respect him. And then I completed my master's. And when I was doing my master's in cement and concrete, many of my batchmates and people said, there's no point of doing master's in cement and concrete. And they were thinking too small. But I thought very big. And ultimately, my dear friends, I was able to secure a senior management position in Holcim, Lanka within 2 years of my first degree because of my master's in cement and concrete. Why I said this story is to actually to be grateful to Professor Tishan Jayasinha. for teaching us to think big. And I just was trying to apply the same concept in my life and career at different points. Later, actually in Holcim, I became world's best project manager in 2005 for one of the project I did. And with that, I got the opportunity to go to the next level in the company. Then, even unknowing to me, my dear friends, apparently, I have started dreaming, thinking small. I have started thinking small. Why I'm saying so? Because I got my pride to my head. Because I became one of the best project managers in the world. They have actually arranged me to for some sort of promotion scheme. I was sent to some training programs in Singapore. They spent millions of rupees. So I think even unknowing to me, my heart has accumulated some pride. And that is small thinking. I would have been more down to earth, but I was not like that. And my dear friend, as a result of that, everybody in the team went against me. And as a result of that, I was compelled to resign from that great company. It was a university. So thinking big brought me to a senior manager level within like 2 years of my passing out. But with that pride, even unknowing to me, I started thinking small. I have become more proud about me. I was not maybe adequately down to earth enough. And as a result, my failure came. My dear friends, I was suffered for 1 year. And I was thinking too small those days. I was thinking about my lost opportunities. I was thinking too small, very small. And all of a sudden, I became mindful about my thinking and started thinking big. And as a result of that, I decided to become my very own boss. As such, I started a couple of engineering consultancy and motivational and leadership training. Why I said this story is because sometimes we are thinking very big. Sometimes, even unknowing to us, we are thinking very narrow and small. When we are thinking big, we can attract happiness, success, and everything. And everybody around us will be happy about us. But the same point, we may start thinking small and we may lose everything. If you really enjoyed this little story, please type in the chat box, enjoyed. Please type in the chat box, enjoyed, right? Enjoyed. Thank you very much, Engineer Lakshita. Thank you very much, Engineer Samarakon. Thank you very much, Engineer Anjan, and everyone, right? So please don't misunderstand me. I relate my stories because I can explain them with lots of authenticity. I don't want to tell other stories because I can tell my stories so that you can learn something out of it, right? You can learn something out of it. My dear friends, as engineers, you must understand the value of you. You must understand the value of you, right? Because, I understood my value at the very first day of my career. And that's important. When you understand the value of you, you tend to give so much of value addition to the organization you are serving for. And accordingly, you must be paid proportionately if it's a private sector organization. But if it's a public sector organization, don't expect the payment. You get lots of merit as a result of that. Lots of satisfaction as a result of that. Please understand your value, my dear friends, right? You're so valuable. You have a great brain. Touch your head and say, I love my brain. Engineer's brain is an amazing brain. Each one of you is having such an amazing brain, my dear friends. Touch your brain and say, I love my brain. Please type in the chat box, I love my brain. That is engineer's brain. Please type in the chat box, I love my brain. That's very important. And my dear friends, sometimes you may feel like you tend to compare you with others. When I was in the engineering faculty as a student, I used to compare me against my batchmates. Actually, I compared me with my batchmates, and I got so much of frustrated feelings, sad feelings, because I was not up to them. They used to be better than me. They used to be better than me because I compared me with my batchmates. I compared their engineering skills, I compared their English skills, I compared their leadership skills, I compared their many things. And that is called small thinking. Soon after my passing out, I stopped comparing me with anybody. I am unique. When you start thinking that you are unique, you are so unique, that is thinking big. Each one of you is unique. There is no one equal to you, my dear friends. Be happy about it. Each one of you is a unique engineer. Love yourself. Love your face. Love your qualification. Love your talents. Love your skill set. Love yourself, my dear friends. Each one of you is unique. Please type in the chat box, I am unique. That is thinking big. That is self-love, right? You have to love you 100%, not 99%, my dear friends. You have to love you 100%. First of all, hug and say, I love me. I love me. Please type in the chat box, I love me 100%. When you start doing that, when you stop comparing yourself with others, when you stop comparing your qualifications with others, when you start comparing your car with others' car, when you start comparing your position with others' position, my dear friends, you are thinking very big and you can live very happily. My dear friends, if you agree with me, please type 100% agree. Please type 100% agree. 100% agree. Please focus on your strengths. Forget about your weaknesses. Capitalize your strengths. Capitalize your talents. Capitalize your talents. Multiply your strengths. Forget about your weakness. There is nobody who is perfect in this planet Earth. None of us are perfect. But each one of you is genius for something. Love it. Love that something. Develop that something. Multiply that something. Use that something to help others, solve problems, help the society, help Sri Lanka. That is thinking big, my dear friends. Capitalize your strengths. I am very weak in surveying. I passed, right? I passed surveying thanks to Professor Anuruddha Pusevala, Professor Vasanta Kumara, and Professor Mahesh Javira. I'm so grateful to them. When I was in in-plant training, I had to do some bit of a surveying where I was so weak. What I did was, I discussed with my site agent and told him that I am good at management. Let's do surveying to these diploma students so that they can do it brilliant than me. So we gave that part to diploma students and they did it brilliantly. They were so grateful that I delegated that part to them. They did a massive, brilliant work and I helped the site agent to manage the site. And I applied my management skill even from my third year in Young Asia television site, my dear friends. Don't worry about your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths, right? Be happy about your strengths, right? and multiply your strengths and use your strengths to serve the society. Use your strengths to achieve your dreams. Use your strengths to help the poor. Use your strengths to make right decisions. You can use your strengths to make our country a great country to live. Right? If you are enjoying this session, my dear friends, please type in the chat box 100% enjoying. Please type in the chat box 100% enjoy. Right? If you are enjoying this session, my dear friends, please type in the chat box 100% enjoy. And my dear engineers, you should love and respect what you do. As engineers, I know that you are doing great things. Think about the road you design, road you plan, road you construct. Water system you design, water system you plan, and water system you construct. Irrigation system you construct. Telecommunication system you construct. Power system you construct. Right? And understand the impact that you are going to make to society by your power system, your telecommunication system, your computer program, your road network, your irrigation system, and hundreds of thousands of people are benefited by your friends. That is the role of engineers. Be proud about the fact that you are adding so much of value to the society. Think big. When you do engineering, understand the purpose of why you are doing this. Why you are doing this design. You should bring love to your engineering. Usually, engineers bring strength. And I'm sorry, engineer, I think engineer Lakisha or Lakisha's phone is switched on, or maybe, I'm sorry, please kindly switch off your, unmute your thing. Right, thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much, right? So as engineers, my dear friends, you are impacting hundreds of thousands of people. When you make right decision by thinking big, you get lots of merit. At the same time, if you make wrong decision by thinking small, you will attract lots of karma, negative karma. As an engineer, when you give a solution, you have to analyze all 360 degrees. There is nothing called engineering solution, my dear friends. There are something called solutions. When it comes to London, the London people who lived in London, they were having, problem with their age because, they were having lots of problems associated with the stomach. And a civil engineer introduced a sewerage system to London that he was able to actually enhance the lifespan of Londoner by 20 years. If he thought narrowly, he might thought it's a responsibility of a medical doctor, but a civil engineer solved that problem, bringing so much of love to Londoners and making lots of merits, my dear friends. That is thinking big. When engineer Vimala Surendra, he used to be a civil engineer. When he witnessed some water balls, he started dreaming about supplying hydropower electricity. And that is thinking big, my dear friends. We have to use our brain to solve problems. When it comes to Bill Gates, he quit engineering not because he can't follow engineering, but because he had a big thinking inside his brain to simplify the computer software so that every human being can use the computer. And as a byproduct of that, he became one of the most successful billionaire also. So that is thinking big. So you have to think big when you solve engineering problems. That's very, very important. And then when you solve problems, it's not engineering problems. You have to understand the impact of it to society, environment, and people around you. And that's very, very important, my dear friends. That is extremely important. So you have to love your job and you have to bring love to what you do. When you design a road or irrigation system or telecommunication system or computer program or whatever you do, You have to bring love. You have to think about the users. You have to think about the public, the general public, whose tax money is going to be spent on these projects. That is thinking big, my dear friends. So thinking big is making right decision. That is what we call effectiveness. That is what we call effectiveness. Let me explain some of the different example. Actually, 6 years back, I lost my loving father. And I never thought he was going to leave us that early. He was just 76, but he was living very young in terms of his activities. He met with a road accident. And it was a big shock to me and entire family of me. And every time I used to get the pain of losing my loving father, because we had lots of plans with him. We had lots of plans with him. Every 10 minutes, I used to get the pain. Even when I was doing training program, I got that pain into my heart. And I was feeling really upset. I was feeling really upset. And one day I decided that I must be mindful about it. Can I bring my father back? No, it is not possible. So I understand the fact that I was thinking too small about my father's sudden loss. And I just changed my thinking to thinking big. And I decided that I must reserve a 10 minutes period every day from 9 o'clock in the night to 10 in the night, 10 minutes to think about my father, suffer about my father, cry about my father. So I became little big in thinking. I reserved 10 minutes to think about my father, suffer about my father, so that when I really felt that pain, I tell my brain, no, this is not the right time. I have a time for that. And I did it for another 6 months. And then I start thinking much bigger. And I understood the fact that each one of us are going from this planet Earth. It is short life, right? It's like a small drop of water at the edge of a plant. And I realized the reality of the life. I realized that each and every day I must spend happily. And I, instead worrying about my father during that 10 minutes, I decided that I must apply his good qualities to my life. I must apply his quality of helping people to my life. And I thought that's the best thing that I can do to my father. So I changed my purpose of life, getting some, points from my father as well, to serve the mankind, serve the people, serve the society. That is, my dear friend, thinking very big. So I used to think very small. I used to suffer a lot. I suffered more than 1 year. Then I reserved 10 minutes, and then I converted it to thinking big. Now, if you are getting some idea about thinking big, please type in the chat box, yes, I do. Please type in the chat box, yes, I do. My dear friends, usually we misunderstand happiness, joy, and satisfaction. These are 3 different things. Happiness is being able to be happy all the time, whatever the circumstances around you. Whatever the circumstances around you. Whatever the circumstances around you, you should be able to count the blessings at that point. Whatever the circumstances around you, if you can count the blessings around you, you can be happy, my dear friends. So gratitude is one of the techniques to being happy. Gratitude is one of the techniques to being happy. And what is satisfaction then? Satisfaction is the feeling you get when you achieve something very good, something very important, something very solid. That is what we call satisfaction. When you finish your engineering project, you get lots of satisfaction. When your son is, getting to university, you get satisfaction. So that is satisfaction you get when you achieve something. So what is joy? Joy is the feeling, the fun you get by using your five senses, your tongue, your eyes, your ears, your touch, and everything. Three different things. You can't be satisfied all the time. You can't be satisfied all the time, my dear friends. You can't be having the joy all the time. But don't forget that if you think very big, you can be happy all the time. You can be happy despite whatever the circumstances around you. And I'm happy to say you that I have mastered that skill set. Whatever the bad circumstances around me, I am happy. And if you are in that mood, even you can become bigger than the problem around you. When you become the bigger than problem around you, you can solve it, my dear friends, easily. And you can get satisfaction. And of course, you can go get joy as well. So happiness is the starting point of all success. So you should be able to live happily. To live happily, you should be able to be mindful about the present moment. And once you become mindful about the present moment, you can think big and you can take right action. And that thinking big will definitely bring you magic, my dear friends. Right? If you understood this point, please type in the chat box, understood. Please type in the chat box, understood. Please type in the chat box, understood. Right. And when it comes to happiness in the marriage life, again, thinking big will definitely help. Right? Thinking big will definitely help. For example, in my personal situation, my wife is a very good person. She's a great wife, very loving wife. But she get bit angry when there is a mismatch between what she's expected and what is there. So initially I really felt unhappy about it. And later I developed my mindset to understand her value system. And now I understand it. And I just understand, you know, she being the perfectionist, she wants things in certain way that we have to accept it, my dear friends. So you have to think big to understand that your wife is different to you, your husband is different to you, your boss is different to you, your subordinates are different to you, your kids are different to you, and your neighbor is different to you. When you understand that the people are different to you, their value system are different to you, their belief system are different to you, their dreams are different to you, you start thinking big. Then you can live happily with anybody, my dear friends. Now, I'm using my wife's greatest weakness, that is actually being perfectionist, to my advantage. When I do presentation and I get her support to make them perfect, because she can find them very quickly and correct them very quickly. And that is what I call thinking very big. So you should be thinking very big to get the maximum advantage from your team members. If you think too small, what happens is you try to find the faults of Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D, Mr. E, Mrs. F, Mrs. G, Mrs. H. But if you're thinking big, rather than finding their faults, you try to find their blessings. What is the blessing of Mr. A? What is the blessing of Mr. B? What is the blessing of Mr. C? What is the blessing of Mrs. F? What is the blessing of Mrs. D, my dear friends? That is what we call leadership. So when you start dreaming big, thinking big, rather than finding the faults of others, you try to capitalize the strengths of each one of them so that you can do successful teamwork, my dear friends, and that will make you a great leader. If you understand this point, and if you are enjoying this point, and if you can apply this point to your life, please type in the chat box, I can apply this to my life. I can apply this to my life, right? Please type in the chat box, I can apply this to my life. Amazing. This is actually the beauty of thinking big. When you start thinking big, your happiness cannot be controlled by the external people, external circumstances, because you're so mindful about what is happening, what is the reality. And as a result of that, my dear friends, you can be 24 hours happy, right? And that happiness will help you to have an amazing brain in this brain to come out with genius results, out of the box results to the problems around you, right? That's very, very important. That is very, very important, my dear friends, right? And if you take great Parakrama Bahu, right? He said, don't let any single drop of water coming from the rain going to the sea without using it. He just used the rain to communicate that to general public. But what he said is, right? What he said is growth mindset. With that growth mindset, with that thinking big, great Parakrama was able to make Sri Lanka #1 in the world map. He made Sri Lanka the #1 logistic hub, naval hub, greenery in Asia, and he became a very powerful nation, my dear friend. That is the power of thinking big. Each one of you, whether you are a Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim or Burgher, each one of you is having the genes of great Parakrama Bahu, because we are a mixed set of people. We all are Sri Lankans. If you can work and think and work like Sri Lankans instead of thinking and working like Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, Buddhists, Christians, Islam, if you all can think and work like Sri Lankans, my dear friends, at that very point, we Sri Lankan will start thinking very big. Thinking very big. Be proud about great Parakrama Bahu, whether you are a Sinhala or Tamil or Islam or Burgher, because each one of us is mixed nation. We all are Sri Lankans, my dear friends. And that is the big thinking that we should bring to make our country a great place to live and a developed country, my dear friends. I hope you enjoyed my session. And I would like to talk about Vihara Mahadevi. Why? King Kavantissa released Vihara Mahadevi to sea because there was an inflow of seawater to the land. And as a result of that, he was able to manage it. We just learned it in our social study and history subject. But my dear friend, most of us do not learn the real lesson of this. Because we didn't learn the real lesson of this, we actually faced a very big disaster as a country. We just listened to this story, didn't analyze it, didn't think about it, just memorize it and just keep in our head and heart. But if we analyze this story, if our teachers analyze this story, if our teachers used to thinking big to teach this story in a much analytical way, we would have saved so many lives from tsunami. Because King Kavantissa's time, it is nothing else. It was tsunami. But we never knew that tsunami happens, being even an island, and we lost lots of lives. If you can understand what I said, the power of thinking big when we are learning, the power of thinking big when we are teaching, the power of analyzing when we are teaching, the power of using your brain to analyze what you learn about in an analytical way. If you understand that concept, please type in the chat box, I understood it, my dear friends. Please type the chat box, I understood it. My dear friends, we have to think very big. Our education system is testing the memory. Our education system is testing the practice. Our education system is testing the hard work. But I think it should change to testing thinking. Who is thinking big? Who is thinking different? Who is thinking analytically? And that's very, very important, my dear friends. That is very, very important, my dear friends. And actually speaking, as a senior lecturer, I couldn't publish adequate amount of research papers because my focus is teaching, training, coaching, and helping university with lots of projects, not research. I would supervise many MSc students, maybe over 15 number of MSc students, but I could not publish. So some of my colleagues let me down, saying that Ranil is not a proper academic. Of course, their thinking is right, because being an academic, I should be able to publish. So I was thinking very small. I was upset about it a little bit. I was having a bit of confusion how to do it. But very recently, I started thinking very big. Instead, I tried to publish these papers. What I do was, I actually built a couple of teams with some brilliant, new PhD holders. And then as a result of that, last year I was able to publish about 10 international and local papers. That is the power of thinking big. Until I was thinking small, I was not able to publish more than 2-3 papers. But I changed my small thinking to big thinking. And as a result of that, I was able to publish many. I'm so thankful to my young PhDs who helped me. Actually, they have done PhDs in other countries, and they came with lots of high skills in writing research papers, right? And my dear friends, sometimes back, I used to drop my wife at Holcim Lanka, and then I used to come to Moroto University. Again, coming back, I used to go to Kalambutri to pick my wife and used to come to Rukmalgamu. I realized that I was wasting 3 hours for driving, more than 3 hours. I did this continuously for 2 years. 2 years. And later, I realized that I was thinking very small. What I thought love was bringing my wife in my vehicle, which is not the truth. So I stopped doing that foolish work. Instead, I started thinking very big, and I recruited a driver, and I saved 3 to 4 hours every day. I used that time to have a special, unique, high-end product called Coffee with Ranil, where any CEO, board of director can meet me to have a coffee with me. Of course, we can enjoy the coffee and we can have any chat about anything which is very, very private and confidential. But I charge a premium price. That is what is called thinking big. If you enjoy that, please type enjoyed in the chat box. Please type enjoyed in the chat box, my dear friends. Right? Please type enjoyed in the chat box. Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right? You may be thinking that Ranil Sukadas is talking about him. Yes, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about my failures, my miserable failures, and small successes for your benefit, with lots of metta inside my heart, with lots of loving kindness inside my heart, with lots of love inside my heart, right? So I know that you can tolerate all my stories, right? I know that you can tolerate all my stories, right? This is the intention, is basically helping you, right? And you can relate my stories to your life, my dear friends, right? Your life, my dear friends. I'll take a couple of other stories. When I was a senior manager at Holcim, I was looking after market and product development. The tsunami came and my CEO wanted me to construct 600 houses throughout Sri Lanka. While doing my usual job as market and product development manager. Those days I was boarded in board place, in a rented place, and I came home and started thinking very small. Oh my God, my CEO is going to fire me. This is not possible. How can I do my usual job as market and product development manager? And how can I construct 600 houses within 1 year? at a rate of 300,000 per house, whereas the usual rate of producing 500 square feet, 50 square feet houses, 600,000 rupees. How can I do it? So I was thinking very small. I was very frustrated. I was very upset, and I was feeling like I was just about to be fired. All of a sudden, I went out. I saw the full moon. I understand the full moon can light the entire darkness. I thought, why can't I help Sri Lankans? Being a civil engineer produced by public money, how can I help Sri Lankans? Instead about being frustrated, being worried about it, I start thinking very big. I just kept my eyes closed and visualized that I already completed 600 houses. I was opening them with my CEO. I was opening some of the houses in Hambantota with my CEO, and Buddhist monks are praying Pirit, and we were opening it, cutting the ribbon. I was keeping my eyes closed, and I was imagining that I was opening some houses in Batikro, and Tamil-speaking people with the tradition, with the Hindu tradition, welcoming us. I just imagined that I was opening some houses in Kalmure, and Slam people with their traditions are welcoming us. And when I visualized that, my dear friends, I got tons of energy. And that is thinking. I used my brain to understand how to do this. And my brain says it's not possible. My heart says it's possible, but my brain says it's not possible. Then I use my brain further and further. I touch my brain and say, I'm so thankful to my brain. Give me a solution. Ultimately, my dear friends, my brain gave me a solution. I decided to delegate. Immediately, I called one of the directors at NBRO. I wanted him to produce me 3 drawings and 3 BOQs within 24 hours. Even though I was a civil engineer, I never really wanted to produce these BOQs and AutoCAD drawings, because I know that it will actually keep my focus out. Instead, I delegated. I wanted him to do it, and he delivered that. And with that, I actually decided a strategy where I must actually use some religious leaders of each and every district, each and every point. And I must use the beneficiaries of these houses to construct the houses. And as a result of that, I was able to complete 650 houses within 1 year, and with Calicut tiles, 500 square foot, 13 houses in Jaffna, 50 houses in Bati, 50 houses in Kalmune, 200 houses in Hambantota, and 50 houses in Gaul, 50 houses in Matra, and so forth. And as a result of that, 2005, IESL Global Annual Report highlighted me as one of the world's best project manager. But if I started thinking very small, if I started doing civil engineering instead of doing project management, I would have been a utter failure, my dear friends. That is the beauty of thinking very big. When I was thinking very small, I got lots of frustrations and stress. When I started thinking very big, what happened was I got the solution. If you enjoyed this small piece of story, please type in the chat box, enjoyed. Please type in the chat box, enjoyed. Right, amazing, right. Now, I think my time is going to end, so I have maybe many stories with me. I had cut down the number of stories, right? I will tell another one story probably, right? And that's one of the very valuable story, and that's one of the best learning I've ever learned in my life. 6 years back, actually, I was just about to do a presentation to one of the leading bank, and I prepared my presentation. I gave my presentation to my loving wife because I know that she can improve it to the maximum level, and she did an amazing job despite she was very tired with the job as a finance manager. And I was in a very happy mode to go to this bank the following day, and my elder son, just 4 years old, approached me saying, he wanted to come to my lab and see what is happening on my computer. At the same time, I got an SMS from one of the manager of that company. I was just replying that SMS. Within a couple of seconds, my son who approached me saying, Tati, has entirely deleted my presentation in such a way that it was not even available in the recycle bin. At that very point, I realized that I was so upset. I didn't know what to do. I was so panicked. I just kept my two fingers together like this. When you keep these two fingers together, what happens is your stress-making point in your brain will make you relax. Lord Buddha is sometimes been like this, and some of the gods are like this. And when I kept my two fingers together like this, what happens is that instead making this small thinking, I start thinking very big. I decided that tomorrow I'm going to talk about the power of Chutta. The following day, I went to that bank and talk about the Chutta. Tava Chutta a little bit. I wanted them to, be attractive Tava Chutta a little bit. Use their brain Tava Chutta, plan Tava Chutta, understand the customer Tava Chutta, organize Tava Chutta, do the teamwork Tava Chutta, etc. Ultimately, I was able to convert and transform that bank within 3 months as the best bank of each and every town in down South Sri Lanka. And I use this concept, my dear friends, to transform over 500,000 people on the planet and over 400 plus organizations. And I just use this concept to probably make about 40 million Sri Lankan rupees also. I'm just talking you. I mean, it was a failure of mine. Make each and every failure a success, right? Think very big. I failed with my presentation because my son has deleted it. But I use this as a lesson. I thought very big and produce this as a training product. And I start selling it. And organizations start getting the maximum outage of that. As a result of that, many organizations started producing results. I want you to improve our Chutta a little bit, my dear friends. 1 to the power 365. 1 to the power 365 is 1 to the power 365 is, my dear friends, 1. If you add 0.01, it will become 1.01. 1.01 to the power 365 is 1.01, 1.01, likewise 37.8. If you can improve Tava Chutta a little bit, my dear friends, if you can improve your skills, if you can improve your mindfulness, Tava Chutta every day, and if you can do it exponential rate, you can become 37 times better than what you are today. That's very, very important. Chutta kene goda klesi, abai chutta kene goda balama. And I did my master's in cement and concrete. As you know, concrete will become its maximum strength in 28 days. The moon cycle is 28 days. And the periodic cycle of a woman is 28 days. There's a very important point. 28 is a magic number. If you can do something continuous for 28 days, what happens is that you can make a habit. Successful people are having success habits. Unsuccessful people are having unsuccessful habits. Happy people are having happy habits. Unhappy people are having unhappy habits. If you can actually acquire success habits by sacrificing 28 days, you can become successful. If you can start thinking big with respect to your partner, your spouse, your job, your boss, your career, your country, your team, if you can start thinking big, it can become a habit. And if you can have this habit continuously for 28 days, my dear friends, it's going to become a permanent habit. So if you really want to be happy, think very big. If you want to have very good personal relations, think very big. If you really want to minimize conflicts, think very big. If you want to achieve your financial freedom, think very big. If you want to contribute to Sri Lanka, planet Earth, think very big. If you really want to be an entrepreneur, think very big. If you want your children to become great, teach them how to think very big. And thinking big will solve many problems. And let's think very big. It's a magic, my dear friends. I think my time is up. So I would like to stop at this point, but I'm ready to answer any of your questions. And if you really enjoyed this session, please type your feedback, my dear friends. And you can criticize me, you can blame me, and all these criticisms and blames I take positively. I'm thinking big. I take another example. I did a session with St. Thomas's College. The principal and the teachers are very happy. One of the teacher, she approached me and said, Ranil Sugadadasa, you have done 110 pronunciation mistakes. 35 grammar mistakes. Please stop your training. Principal, right? I can't recall his name. The warden, right? The principal, Everyone appreciated my session. And one teacher approached me and said, please stop your training until you polish your English. I was very upset, but I was able to manage my emotions because I got so much of respect from all the others. I came back home and asked myself, am I an English teacher or am I a motivational trainer? My answer was, I am not an English teacher, I'm a motivational trainer. As long as I can communicate, I can still continue as a trainer. And with that negative feedback, I decided that I must become trainer and coach to CEOs and directors. And I leveled up, my dear friends. I leveled up. So all the failures, all the letdowns, you should be able to convert it to positive energy. That is thinking big. And when it comes to my English, I must be so thankful to my mom. She taught me how to dream very big together with my father. I'm from Hidurangal, in between Halibut and Krialapam in Ratnapur district. I went to a village school where I just wore different colored t-shirt because we didn't have a uniform for my school. Then I failed my year 5 scholarship, and then I went to Halibut Central College. And our English teacher was only teaching one of the students in the class, and he was not even looking at us. I went to home with tears, but my mom was very intelligent. She was dreaming and thinking very big together with my father. She just asked me, what's the lesson tomorrow? And she wrote down all the difficult words in the exercise book. And I can still remember the first word was because. So she wrote because here, then singular because, then Maknisada. And then the words that I didn't know, that she didn't know, she went to my father and asked it. My father was a retired principal. And there was a couple of words that both of them didn't know. So she used this dictionary, which is 120 years old, published in 1901 to teach me English. And I was able to, learn it the way that I can. And I'm proud about my language. This is my mother tongue. I might have made many mistakes, but I believe I communicated the message to you, my dear friends. And I'm trying to improve my English, at least one word per day, right? And so I opened the forum to you to ask questions, and I'm ready to answer you. And there are so many messages, so that I don't think I can follow your message and answer. Please switch on your mic and talk if you have time. I don't know, the organization committee will decide when to stop this session. But I'm having time if you have time. And Jai, my dear friends, and let's use your brains and hearts and gut brains. That's the brain in your stomach to build, our country, help our country, and help our juniors to become great, and help the planet Earth, my dear friends. Thank you. Any questions?
There are no questions as such in the chat box. All are appreciations and the thank you messages.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah, Dr. Shanil, I appreciate it's wonderful. But I think you all were very big thank you from the gathering. So I will call Kokila. Are you there?
Yes, madam. Thank you very much.
Please go ahead.
Yes, actually, it is only the time restriction, but no any restriction from heart and brain to stop this wonderful lecture from Dr. Anil Sugandasa. It's very wonderful and very attractive, and thank you very much for being with us and delivering this very timely topic, because the country and every people and everywhere is thinking small at the moment, but the time is up now to change it and come with the thinking, that magic to think big. So thank you very much, Dr. Anil Sugandasa, sir, for delivering this wonderful lecture again. And not only that, for organizing this, being with organizing this session. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to thank them, Library and Publication Committee, the chaired by Professor Ranjit Disanayake sir, and also the Civil Engineering Sectional Committee of IESL, chaired by Professor Tishan Dayasinghe, and altogether Member Development Program led by Engineer Manjula Samarasinghe. So I would like to thank them, and also this Member Development Program will be covered some small, very valuable areas to improve that, especially if we think with that magic, thinking big. So this program will address administrative skills, public sector process basic knowledge, law, finance knowledge, communication skills, leadership skills, interpersonal skills, and presentation skills, enthusiasm, and innovation and creativity. But last not least, resilience. So as engineers, we should focus these things, and with that, we have decided and to improve our thinking big. So if I use that your word, yes, with that, the time is up and time is asking to stop. So again, I should thank our engineer Dr. Ranil Sugildasa. So it's a pleasure to hear you. And again, we think we will meet somewhere. This is a small country, definitely allow us to meet you. Thank you very much sharing your thoughts, experience, but it made new thinking and rethinking about us. So with that, on behalf of all these comments and things, on behalf of IESL, on behalf of organizing committee, I am thanking you very much and wish you a happy new year for the rest of 360 days. Thank you very much, sir.
And thank you very much. And I appreciate all your comments and feedback. And I'm so thankful to all the engineers and non-engineers here. And I think some of the engineers are asking my telephone number and my email address. My telephone number is not 777, not 777 224 038, not 777 224 038. And you can actually connect me in the Facebook Ranil Sugildasa public figure. You can watch single and English things, and then you can go to YouTube Ranil Sugildasa public figure. And if you really want to see what my son is doing just 10 years, you can actually watch him in the YouTube. Amazing human. Amazing YUMETH human. Actually, he's just 10 years and he's teaching how to dream, how to think very big. He's teaching how to think very big. Amazing human. And my telephone number is not 777 224 038. And LinkedIn is very, very powerful social media, professional network. Please connect with me through LinkedIn. I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much. Vanakkam. Thank you very much.